Hey everyone, and welcome back to another deep dive. The holidays are just around the corner, and I don't know about you, but my calendar's already filling up way too fast with parties and family gatherings and just a ton of commitments.
Yeah, I feel that. It's supposed to be like a fun time of year,
Yeah.
but it can definitely get kind of stressful, right?
Mhm, totally.
Mm.
So, to help us all navigate the season with a little more peace and joy, we're going to take a look at Denise Brown's ebook, Self-Care for the Holidays.
Ooh, I like it. Self-care for the holidays. Much needed.
Seriously. And you know what really resonated with me? In chapter 2, Brown dives into this idea of choosing your celebrations, which we all know is harder than it sounds.
Oh, for sure. Like everyone expects you to be everywhere and do everything.
Right. And Brown actually tells this really relatable story about her cousin Nini, who drives 5 hours to visit family for the holidays. And she no sooner gets there than the requests for visits start pouring in. Everyone wants a piece of her time.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. So many invitations, so little time. Like, it's almost like that whole choice overload thing, right? Too many options, and you end up feeling more stressed than excited.
Exactly. So what does Brown suggest we do about it? Like, how do we actually go about choosing which celebrations to prioritize?
Well, she really emphasizes this idea that the holidays should be about connection, not obligation. So instead of just automatically saying yes to everything, she suggests taking a step back and asking yourself, does this event truly align with my values and priorities? And if it doesn't, maybe it's okay to politely decline.
Okay, but saying no to family and friends, especially during the holidays, that could be really tough.
Oh, tell me about it. It can feel super awkward. But Brown's point is that it's really about setting healthy boundaries and prioritizing your own well being. And she actually gives some pretty helpful tips on how to decline invitations gracefully without hurting anyone's
Oh, I
feelings.
definitely want to hear those tips because I'm not good at saying no. What'd she say?
Well, she basically says keep it simple and sincere. You could just say something like, thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it, but I won't be able to make it this time. You don't have to go into a whole long explanation or make excuses.
Right, just be straightforward. But
Yeah.
what about, like, staying connected with the people who really matter most if you're not going to every single event? How do you make sure you're still nurturing those relationships?
That's a great question. And Brown actually encourages us to get creative with connection. She points out that, with all the technology we have today, we have so many options for engaging with loved ones from afar. You can do video calls, send personalized cards, or even put together thoughtful care packages.
I like that. So you're not just like defaulting to the traditional holiday gathering. You're actually putting some thought into how you want to connect with people in a way that feels more authentic to you.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe you'll even start some new traditions that are more aligned with your current lifestyle and preferences.
I love that idea. So we've talked about saying no and finding alternative ways to connect. What else does Brown suggest when it comes to choosing our celebrations wisely?
Well, she talks about the importance of looking at your holiday calendar with a fresh perspective and asking yourself, what truly brings me joy during this season? What are the events or activities that I genuinely look forward to?
So it's like not just going through the motions or doing things out of obligation, but actually focusing on the things that fill your cup. Right?
Exactly. And she even suggests making a holiday wish list, like literally brainstorming all the things that would make your ideal holiday season. This could include specific events, traditions, activities, even just the general feeling or atmosphere you want to create.
It's like a vision board for the holidays, but with experiences and emotions rather than material things. I love it.
Right. It helps you get clear about your priorities and guide your decision making. So when that invitation comes in, you can ask yourself, does this align with my holiday wish list? Does it contribute to the kind of holiday experience I'm trying to create?
That's so helpful. It really takes the pressure off. And it empowers you to make choices that are actually in line with your own vision for the holidays, not someone else's.
Yeah, exactly. And it can also help you identify those activities or traditions that maybe don't serve you anymore. Like, just like you declutter your home and get rid of things you don't need, you can do the same with your holiday calendar. Let go of those commitments that are draining your energy or don't align with your values anymore.
I'm telling you, this is making me rethink my whole approach to the holidays. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by all the expectations, I'm actually starting to see it as an opportunity to create an experience that feels truly authentic and joyful.
That's amazing. And remember, it's a process, right? You don't have to figure it all out overnight. Start by taking small steps, like making that holiday wish list or practicing saying no in a kind and respectful way. Over time, you'll get more clear and confident about navigating the holiday season in a way that works for you. It's one thing to choose which celebrations you're going to go to, but it's another thing entirely to actually be present at those
Oh,
celebrations.
that's so true. Like, you can show up physically, but your mind could be a million miles away,
Oh,
especially with all the distractions these days.
exactly. Brown really stresses the importance of being present and engaged at those events you do decide to attend, like putting away your phone, really listening to the conversations, appreciating the little moments that make each gathering special.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about shifting your mindset from just being there to actually, like, savoring the experience.
Yeah.
But what about when you start feeling overwhelmed, even at an event you've chosen to be at? Like, it's a good event, but you just need a break.
Oh, totally. Brain talks about that too. She suggests taking mindful breaks when you need them. Stepping away from the crowd for a few minutes, maybe even taking a quick walk outside to clear your head.
It's like applying those self-care strategies we talked about earlier, but in a social setting.
Exactly. You have to recognize your limits and give yourself permission to step away. And hey, sometimes that break might even mean connecting with someone one-on-one, having a deeper conversation away from the big group.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
It's all about being proactive and creating the kind of experience that feels good for you, both individually and as part of the group.
Exactly. It always comes back to intentionality, right? We have more control over our holiday experience than we realize. It starts with making conscious choices about where we put our time and energy.
It's like we're reclaiming the holidays as a time for real connection and joy, not just a bunch of obligations and expectations.
Exactly. And speaking of joy, we can't forget to include those activities and traditions that really light us up, whether it's baking, watching holiday movies, volunteering, whatever. Brown reminds us to make time for those things.
It's like she's giving us permission to be a little selfish, but in a good way, prioritizing our own happiness and well-being so we can show up as our best selves for the people we care about.
Right. Sometimes that might even mean, breaking from old traditions and creating new rituals that better reflect who we are now.
It's about recognizing that traditions are meant to evolve.
Yeah.
Right. What matters is that they still bring joy and meaning.
Exactly. And choosing your celebrations can be a fun way to express your creativity, like host a themed party or create a new family tradition that reflects your heritage.
Oh, I like that. Make it your own. But I was just thinking, does Brown give any advice for dealing with family dynamics during the holidays? Because things can get, well, complicated, let's just say, when everyone's together.
Oh, you read my mind. She actually has a whole section on navigating family relationships during the holidays. Lots of practical tips on communication, setting boundaries, and resolving conflict.
Ooh, I need that. Fill me in.
Well, first, she reminds us that we can't control anyone else's behavior. We can only control our reactions. So, practice self-awareness and figure out what your triggers are so you can handle those tough situations better.
So it's about taking responsibility for your own emotional well-being instead of getting sucked into other people's drama.
Yep. And she also talks about the importance of clear communication. If something's bothering you, address it directly instead of letting it build up or hoping it'll magically fix itself.
Easier said than done sometimes, especially with family.
True, it can be tricky, but Brown gives some tips on having these conversations constructively, using I statements to express your feelings and needs, focusing on the present instead of bringing up old stuff, being willing to compromise.
It sounds like she's going for a more mindful and compassionate approach to communication.
Absolutely. And she even says it's okay to disagree. You don't have to agree on everything to have a loving and respectful relationship.
That's good to remember because it's so easy to think you have to change someone's mind or win every argument.
For sure. And if a conversation gets heated, Brown suggests taking a break, cool down, and come back to it later when everyone's calmer.
That's always good advice. Sometimes all you need is a little space to clear your head. So it sounds like Brown's advice for family is all about balancing healthy boundaries with loving connections.
Exactly. Prioritize your own well-being while also recognizing the importance of family. And choose to engage in those relationships in a way that feels authentic and healthy.
So we've talked about the social side of things. What about the practical side of planning and preparing for the holidays?
Oh, yeah, we can't forget about that. Brown has some great tips for that, too.
Okay, good, because that's usually where I get tripped up.
I hear you. It's a lot to handle, but Brown suggests breaking down that big to-do list into smaller, more manageable chunks. Make a timeline, assign tasks to different days or weeks leading up to the holidays.
Like a holiday project plan. I could do that.
Exactly, and delegate. Ask family to help with cooking, cleaning, decorating, maybe even hire someone to help with certain things.
Oh yeah, delegation is key. It's so easy to think you have to do it all yourself.
Right. And another great tip, don't be afraid to simplify. You don't need elaborate decorations or fancy meals to create a festive and memorable experience.
Sometimes less is more. It's about focusing on quality over quantity.
Exactly. The holidays are really about connecting and celebrating. Don't let the pressure of perfection ruin that.
I'm feeling so much better about the holidays already. It's like Brown's given us a roadmap for creating an experience that's aligned with our values and priorities.
That's awesome. Remember, you have the power to choose how you experience the holidays. Be intentional, be kind to yourself, and most importantly, have fun.
I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from all this is that the holidays don't have to be this crazy, stressful time. We actually have way more control than we think.
Yeah, it's a total mindset shift. Like,
Yeah.
instead of feeling swept away by all the traditions and obligations, we can actually create the kind of holiday experience we really want.
Right. And it all starts with those honest questions, like what traditions actually bring us joy? Who do we really want to spend time with? What kind of atmosphere do we want to create?
Exactly. Once you figure out your own values and priorities, everything else gets so much easier. Like deciding which events to go to, how to connect with people, even how to deal with those tricky family situations.
It's like Brown's giving us a framework for creating an authentic and fulfilling holiday season.
Totally. And let's not forget about self-care during all the craziness. It's easy to get caught up in taking care of everyone else and forget about ourselves.
Oh, that's so true. Brown actually talks about gifting yourself time this season. And it doesn't have to be anything big, even just a few minutes each day to relax and recharge.
It's such a good reminder, right? Taking a warm bath, reading a book, just sitting in silence with a cup of tea, those little things can make a huge difference.
It really can. It's a good reminder that taking care of ourselves isn't selfish, it's essential, especially during the holidays.
And speaking of taking care of ourselves, let's go back to that idea of decluttering our calendars. Just like we get rid of stuff we don't need anymore, we can let go of those commitments that just drain our energy.
I love that analogy. It's
Yeah.
like saying no to the things that don't matter so we can say yes to the things that do.
Totally. And sometimes that means breaking from tradition or doing things differently, but that's okay. Holidays are meant to change as our lives change. What matters is that they still bring us joy and meaning.
I think that's the perfect way to wrap this up. We have the power to create the holidays we want. It's not about rules or expectations. It's about being true to ourselves, taking care of ourselves, and focusing on what really matters.
Absolutely. Remember, the holidays are all about connection, love, and celebration. So let's go into this season with intention, grace, and a whole lot of self-compassion.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Elle Denise Brown's self-care for the holidays. Hopefully you got some good insights and feel inspired to create a holiday season that's truly authentic and joyful.
Happy holidays, everyone.